Hello, everybody, and welcome to session 5, doing something about what matters. So here's where we're going to start putting things into context and start doing the background information for the plan. That's kind of the goal of this whole training here. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to look at your values and your child's values. So comparing what you value and what your child values, finding that common ground and seeing what areas you can kind of build off of that to build that trust, safety, and fun between the two of you. What are the tiniest steps that you can do? Turning those values into small, realistic actions, tiny, tiny little goals to work towards and operate under your values and work towards larger goals. And then start setting up a plan. And what does the plan mean? So getting ready to build a real behavior plan in the next set of things that we'll be working on. So again, your values versus your child. So last session, you identified your values, your child's possible values. Maybe you have some of your homework and data associated with this. So let's just talk a little bit about this now. So your values, maybe you identified some things last session: being patient, protecting children, showing up, being a good person, staying honest, whatever that is for you. So what I want you to do is write down what those values are. Pick your top 3. Now I want you to think of your child's values, what you observed from their preferences. Maybe there was social connection, creativity, independence, fun, feeling safe. What does that look like? Pick your child's top 3. Now I want you to ask yourself some questions here. What's the same between your values and your child's values? And frankly, how do you know, right? What are your particular behaviors that show that this actually is a value of yours? Not one you feel like you should be expected to have, but one you actually have. And same goes for your child. How do you know that they value those things? What are the behaviors, or what are they saying to you, right? And then 2, where might they differ, and how do your goals support or conflict with theirs, and how do your values might support or conflict with theirs? So really looking at these 2 questions, and this is something that doesn't have to be done only now. This can be done consistently on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, every once in a while, just to check in and see, have your values changed? Have your child's values changed over time? How do those things mesh? And in what ways can you work with your child in the way that they also say they want to interact with you? So really finding common ground is going to be important here. So both your values and, more importantly, your child's values must be represented in the plan that we are ultimately going to create. You have more power in this relationship. There's a hierarchy. If you are the caregiver for your child, you have the ability to make more decisions, but that means that your child's perspective matters then even more. What is your child's input on this? Although you are the adult and you make decisions about where they live, where they eat, how much they eat, where they sleep, what do they play with, things like that. Doing that in conjunction with your child will help to increase a positive relationship with them, show that trust, and show that you are there willing to hear them and help them out. So again, they're the ones whose behavior might change, at least directly, and then they deserve to be a part of this process. If you're trying to change their behavior, they have to know why, and they have to agree to some level with why that thing looks like that. And again, though, too, we're also looking at your behaviors. What are you doing to change the environment to make your child more comfortable in that space? Right? So where do those values overlap? Build your plan here, right? This is where you both win. When your values overlap, what are those things that overlap? What does that actually look like? Is it playing? Is it talking? Is it a different type of connection? Is it giving each other space when you're mad? What does that look like? Write those things down, because those are the successful things we want to see more of. Where do they differ? So there will be a compromise, right? That's normal and healthy. Your child is a different person than you. They've had a different life than you. They've had a different interaction set than you. They don't have to be mini copies of you, right? So looking at what that compromise component is and really deciding, is this something I actually need to change? And is this something my child themselves wants to change? It should be led by the child as much as possible. And again, keep it simple. If the plan is too complicated, it won't work for everybody. If you come up with a 15-step plan of how to change a particular behavior, that's going to be hard for you to track, especially when things get stressful. That'll be hard for your child to track because that's a lot of steps to remember. That'll be hard to share with other people in the environment as well, because they might have a hard time tracking those behaviors too. So really think about what is the simplest, smallest thing that you can do to work in your values and work in your child's values to move towards happy, relaxed, and engaged considerations. So again, your child's behavior has the potential to change. They deserve to be respected in that process, and they deserve to be heard on how that change should go. So what tiny steps are you going to start taking? So for each value that you identified, what is the next smallest step you can take towards that? What's a realistic goal you can reach immediately? Not next month, not next week, tomorrow, or today. What resources do you have to do that? People, time, tools, information. Do you already know how to engage in those things? And finally, do you believe that you can actually accomplish this? If not, make it smaller, right? We're trying to build up little wins here to build momentum towards the larger goal. This is something that's very, very important. What is the smallest thing that you can do to practice a successful situation and go from there, right? So let's say, for example, you have a value of connection with your child. You've noticed over the last week that you only play maybe 5 minutes a day with them. Maybe your next tiniest goal is to play 6 minutes a day, then 7, then 8, then 10, then 15. You can slowly build up those goals over time because all of those are in service of connecting with your child, right? Take the smallest next step that you can do and move forward. And again, write down that step. And when you do it, what do you need and how will it help your child ultimately at the end? So your values and your child's values both matter in the plan that you are building, and both your voices, including your child's, should be heard in those. Start with the tiniest step possible. If it feels too big, make that step even smaller. It doesn't have to be huge, sweeping changes. Change can happen over time if you're doing tiny little things at a time to build up that success of practicing those new wanted behaviors and values. And again, it's okay if your plan's not perfect. Everything we do is trial and error. No matter how much we plan, there might be a wrench that's thrown into it. It might be difficult to change a particular situation. You might not have accounted for something that you had no control over. There's a million things that can happen. Get it to a workable stance. Try it. See what happens. And next up, we're going to build this from the behavioral side. So check out our next video on this.